Hi folks, Lou here, and you might guess from the background that I'm in a hotel room at an archery tournament where my wife is participating. And recently she texted me from the tournament and said that one of the participants was willing to playtest a new game I've devised. Now, this new game is a children's game, and I mean teenagers, even the lower teens, may find it insufficient. I don't know. I haven't made it particularly to publish. I've made it in order to play with my nephews, and grandniece at their house where we're going to visit in a while. And as I thought about this, having just played it for the first time earlier this morning, I realized that we would have to explain to Sue's friend Dan that it is a children's game, and consequently you can't expect the same kind of things from it that from an adult game. Which led me to consider, what are the elements of a children's game? Well, first of all, in a children's game, you don't want anyone to get hurt. You want no negative consequences of what goes on. That's the zeitgeist, you might say, of this century. That was not necessarily true last century, but it is this century. And that means, for me, a cooperative game. And I like cooperative games anyway. Now, a cooperative game can be like a puzzle, but when I design a cooperative game, I try to make it as little puzzle-like as possible. So, what else do you want from a children's game? You want not many choices, because children are not accustomed to processing a lot of choices, and perhaps especially 21st century children, I don't know. So in my game, the player starts with 5 cards in hand, and each card does a simple thing. And as the play goes on, there are fewer and fewer cards in hand until they're exhausted and they get another choice of 5. When chance is involved, and there are dice rolls as well as card draws, just roll 1 die. Well, after having made that list, I realized that's what we're seeing in a lot of so-called adult games nowadays. In other words, adult games are becoming more and more like children's games. Some of them just go down to the level of, say, family games, but some go even farther. Now, of course, there are games like Terraforming Mars and Seven Wonders and such that's never going to become a children's game. But we do have this situation in modern games. Is this good? I don't know, but it is. And you have to follow reality. Now, I'm the sort of person who does not have children and who prefers to talk with children as adults, as though they were adults, which is pretty difficult for kids who are in single digits. My grandniece was 12 last we visited, and I could talk to her like an adult and even tell her that I did, even though I realized she wasn't an adult, because she is very responsible and so forth, a very sturdy individual. But that's the exception nowadays. And again, she was 12, she'll be 13 this year. And so she might find this game a little twee, I don't know. I think she'll like it because she's willing to play games with her younger siblings that are definitely children's games. Anyway, a little food for thought. Thanks for listening.